starting with Haseeb Bakhtary, who is consultant with Climate Focus. This is a private sector perspective. Haseeb is based in Germany. We have Swida Hadika Jamshid. Sorry, Hadika, if I'm not pronouncing it correct, but you come from Ministry of Climate Change, the government of Pakistan, and you have the host country perspective, which we heard in both presentations is very important. And from a research perspective, I'm happy to introduce Naoki Matsuo from IGES Japan. And I will now first have a round of questions to each of you, starting with Haseeb. That we hear from both presentations, there are different methodologies to assess impacts, and that these are increasingly impact specific across types of policies and actions in different countries and sectors. Can you, from your perspective, reflect on the debate, how to assure quality assurance, possibly what is the importance of comparability across different tools and methodologies? Over to you.
Thank you so much, Karen. Also, thank you, Brenda and Hugh, for the great work. The tools presented today have been in the making for some time now. I'm aware of that, and a lot of hard work has gone into developing these. So this is very much appreciated, and many congratulations to the teams behind them. And these tools indeed are very timely developments for several reasons. As the presenters pointed out, and we talked a bit about this, over the past few years, there has been an increasing interest among stakeholders across sectors and countries to assess the impacts of their programs, policies, and projects on various SDGs. This may be, for example, assessing how a donor-funded sustainable agriculture program affects SDGs, or identifying and highlighting linkages between nationally determined contributions and the Sustainable Development Goals. So, but the SDG framework, that is the 17 goals, the targets and indicators, they're all global in nature, and they are meant for national level reporting, not really at the policy or program level. And given their interconnectedness and indivisibility, it has been very challenging for policymakers, project implementers to assess, quantify, monitor, and report on the SDG impacts of their actions. And in the absence of a common and streamlined approach to measuring and reporting of SDG impacts, something that these tools today brought to us, which are based on sound frameworks and methodologies, there has been different approaches that have emerged over the years across sectors and places. These range from simple box ticking of positive contributions to more complex tools, two of which we saw today. And this is where it gets quite tricky, because the interlinkages and the integrated nature of SDGs are very crucial for their implementation. And therefore, the SDGs should be treated as a whole and not in a siloed approach. This means that policies and actions to achieve one SDG should avoid negative impacts on others. For example, a program or project to improve livelihoods of communities in a certain place could have negative effects on biodiversity or climate. So in practice, this means that we should avoid cherry picking a subset of SDGs and by only describing positive impacts. That's where the debate is right now. Therefore, to ensure and to make sure that policies and actions make meaningful contributions to SDGs and avoid negative effects, they need to consider the whole of SDGs from the beginning of the policy design stage through the implementation, monitoring, and reporting of progress on these policies and programs and projects. And we should consider how a policy or action may have both direct or indirect positive, as well as direct and indirect negative effects on all of the SDGs, the 17 SDGs. That being said, it is quite encouraging to see countries are actually moving away from single agencies working in silos to multiple actors working together across sectors in making sure there's a holistic approach to policy and program design and implementation. And in doing so, countries as well as organizations are beginning to use decision-making tools such as those presented today to identify synergies and trade-offs that exist among different goals and targets at the country level, at the regional, at the policy, as well as program and project levels. And the presentations and the tools presented today will be very helpful to further improve reporting on SDG impacts. It also brings the conversations that we are having today, bring together various organizations working on these tools to compare notes and learn from one another, which will hopefully help avoid emergence of different and conflicting approaches and tools that might obscure the SDG impact assessment and reporting across sectors, across regions and countries, and programs and projects. So again, I'd like to congratulate to Gold Standard, ADB, and the teams behind these tools, and hope that we have more conversations like today to make sure we are all on the same page, to make sure that all actions we take in different sectors do make positive contributions to sustainable development while ensuring that the trade-offs are minimized and the negative impacts are avoided. Uh, in the interest of time, I'll leave it to that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Haseeb, for pointing out also the negative impacts, that co-benefits is about the positive impacts, assessing and reporting those, but it's super important to assess the interlinkages and avoid or mitigate the negative impacts for quality assurance. So just a little request for the panel of experts. If you could turn on your cameras, I could actually not see you, Haseeb, but if you could please turn on your cameras so we can, thanks. And sorry, I should have asked you this before, but I'm glad to see you now. And now